Hello and welcome to another Fortnight on the Isle, where this time around we're recording this a little bit earlier than normal. Most of the time I record my Fortnight on the Isle videos on Friday, sometimes Saturday, before they come out on Sunday. This time around I'm recording it on Thursday because early tomorrow morning I'm going to be heading out of town for a few days, so I got to get basically all the monthly update stuff done a little bit earlier than I otherwise would be getting it done, so that the videos can still come out on time and on schedule and all of that fancy jazz without, affecting my other real life plans. As a result of these other plans and whatnot changing, I'm afraid I'm probably not going to get much reading done over the next few days, at the very least, being out of town and all. But I did have quite a crazy reading month in February, which we'll talk more about in a couple of days from now with the monthly reading wrap up in TBR. More on that a little bit later. But on the reading itself, I also got plenty of that reading done over the last 2 weeks. So let's actually talk a little bit about it. First off, I will just briefly note that over the last couple weeks, I did get to read a short secret project of sorts from Christopher Rocchio, which I will absolutely talk more about when I'm able to. But for now, just know that I did get to do something along those lines. But now, the reading that I did do was pretty chunky, all things considered. I finished East of Eden. I don't remember how much of this book I actually had read at the time that I recorded the last one of these videos, but I did have a decent chunk done, but I did finish this book over the next several days after that video came out. And East of Eden, I think, is a masterclass in using caricature, analogy, and other similar writing styles, making characters, making stories, making scenes that are meant to represent something or that are meant to be based off of something, that very clearly so, that were done in a way that don't feel cheesy, doesn't feel undeserving or anything like that. All of the characters are caricatures made into human beings from those caricatures, and I just had a pleasant time reading it. And the book ended a little bit more tragically than I anticipated, which is unfortunate for my mental health, but I did really like the book. Another book that ended tragically in one way, but also not so tragically in another way, very purposely on the author's part, was Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I think I might have mentioned in my last reading wrap-up in TBR that I wanted to continue this book in February, maybe get through part 4 if I could, and maybe that would be all that I could get through. Well, I had a little bit of extra reading time over the past week, and I plowed through the rest of this book, all like 60% of the book that I had remaining. So 450, 500 pages or something like that I still had left, and I got through all of that. And I quite enjoyed it. At first, for a long time reading this book, I was wondering, what am I going to rate this? Am I going to rate this 4 stars and keep War and Peace at 5 stars like I had it? Because there was a little bit of time when I finished War and Peace that I thought I would, bring it down to 4 because it was kind of in between the two, that I bumped up to 5 partially because of peer pressure. And then I was reading this, just like, well, no, War and Peace is the 5-star read because this is the 4-star read. And I ended up rating this 4 or 5 stars because it's really good, and the way that Tolstoy explores characters was quite intriguing coming off of East of Eden. And as I said in my written review of Anna Karenina, where Steinbeck's characters here are caricatures made human, Tolstoy's characters here are humans made caricatures. There's a really interesting dichotomy with those that I really loved in my reading. And then over the last few days, since I had a few days before the end of the month and the start of the new one, I was debating what I would end up doing. I got to listen to a little bit of music that I had gotten a little bit behind on because of the open up in space. But I did get to start a couple of my March reads. Again, I'll talk a little bit more about that in a couple days. I started Fires of Heaven by Robert Jordan. As of right now, I'm only through the prologue, so not that far. I really liked the prologue. There was a lot of cool stuff in it, but I don't really have that much to say about the book so far. And then I also just today, actually, while I was getting ready to record and also go out of town, so like shaving my head and stuff, I listened to the first little bit of Cities of the Plain. I've got about 25 pages left in part 1, so I'm about a sixth of the way through, a little bit over a sixth of the way through the book. So I'm already made decent progress on this. I predict that I'll probably be able to finish this over the weekend because doing it audio / immersively, where any of the books that I plan to read physically over the weekend while I'm out of town may not work that way. But that is basically what I've gotten done over the last couple weeks with my reading. As for the writing, things were a little bit different. Not a whole lot of words were written over the last couple weeks like I hoped would happen, but I did get some good enough progress, I would say. Probably about 2,000 words or so were added to the Reign of Ash outlines. This third and final outline in the Silent Reign trilogy has been a real tough one to get through because of the timeline. It's been an absolute doozy on that front, and it's sure to get a lot more edits, especially as I continue on into writing the outlines for the next couple series, which I really hope to do this year. I just got to finish editing this third outline first. But yeah, I've just got a few scenes left in part 2 of 5, so, you know, I'm making progress. The back half of the book will basically need to be rewritten. The whole outline will basically need to be written there, and I'm not excited to do that. But for this first half, things have been a little bit better, but also a bit worse than I was thinking they were going to be on the editing process. It's definitely a doozy. We'll see if I end up having time to do all 7 outlines that I want to do this year after I finish editing this one. But let's just move right on into the coming releases. All the videos coming out on both my channels the next couple weeks. On the main channel, I do have 5 videos planned to come out, although I should say that yesterday the State of Affairs video would have just come out, which I'm actually recording tomorrow, right before I leave, because that's the turn of the month and all of that fancy whatnot. Either way, the next 5 videos coming out on the main channel here will be on Tuesday the 5th, the Book Binge episode 140, which, as I've mentioned, will be the February reading wrap-up and March TBR. There will be some fun things to be discussed in that video. I'll go a little bit more in-depth on my reading than I did just now. And then next Tuesday on the 12th will be episode 141 of the Book Binge, which is a video that I recorded several months ago, actually. My review of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas will be coming out next Tuesday on the 12th, so I'm excited for that one. Like I said, it was recorded several months ago, and then I finally found a free spot to actually put it that I needed to have a review for, so that's where it ended up being put. Next Sunday, on the 10th, will be a Short Story Sundays video on a story that I actually haven't read yet, but hope to get done over the weekend. It'll definitely not take any longer than next week. Either way, that will be Chess Story by Stefan Zweig, so that will probably be a little bit of a longer video than Short Story Sundays have been up to this point, because that story is actually a novella, so we'll see how that video goes. I'm probably going to be getting that one done next Tuesday. We'll see what ends up happening. But then on the next couple Thursdays, on both the 7th and the 14th, just the first couple episodes of Wheel of Time Diaries, where I talk about the Fires of Heaven. So episodes 22 and 23 of that. And we'll see how those go as I continue to read that book. On the second channel, I have 3 videos coming out over the next couple weeks on the 8th and the 15th. The next couple Fridays will be, of course, a couple more of the episodes of the BioShock Let's Play from 2020, episodes 10 and 11. I think we're coming up on the end of that. I think there's only 12 episodes of that, so we're pretty much on the end of that. I'm excited for the next Let's Play to start uploading, or start publishing rather, in March. Maybe that'll be April. I don't remember exactly when that one's starting to be published, but either way, the third video, the one that I'm really excited about and also dreading in a sense, is the 2023 Game of the Year video, which I've been making really great progress on in some areas. I'm planning for it to come out tomorrow on the 4th. It may not come out until next week on the 11th. We'll see what ends up happening with the editing process. I was able to get through the first segments of it with a lot of the background stuff, the audio, waveform, all of that fancy stuff that I've been doing for my audio visualizers. I got through all of that pretty quickly and easily. That ended up being fine. But then when I was starting to add gameplay footage, I've run into a lot of hiccups with the video, with crashing and RAM issues, which I've never had before, so I don't know why it's been going on, but I have been having issues. I'm most of the way through. It should only take another 2 to 3 hours of editing for that video to be finished with the gameplay. I've been saving little bits here and there and rendering it bit by bit so that I could actually have little pieces to put together at the end to avoid crashing, you know, causing the end of the entire video. For a second, I was thinking I might only get to publish the visualizer, but like I said, only a couple more hours of editing, which I plan to do as soon as this video and the monthly reading wrap-up and TBR video, which I'm recording right after this, are done and uploading. So this evening, essentially Thursday evening, I'm going to spend the last couple hours, even if it means staying up a little bit late, getting that video finished so that it can come out on Monday. Yeah, that was a little bit of a long update in that regard. As for entertainment talk, I don't have a whole lot to say here. Last weekend, while I was, you know, recharging a bit from working on the 2023 Game of the Year video, I did buy and play a little bit of the second Hot Wheels game. I played the first one, the original one that came out in 2021, and it was good fun. There's really not much to the game besides just what it is, and I don't do it for like the track building stuff. I just do it for the campaign, which is, you know, not horribly long, not horribly complicated. It just is what it is, but I enjoy the gameplay enough. You know, it's just good, dumb fun, mindless fun, so why not? The second game's basically more of the same, but again, why not? I got it on sale, so it didn't really hurt. But I do plan to do some more entertainment talk over the next couple weeks, which we'll talk about in the next update. As for music talk, there's actually surprisingly not a whole lot to talk about here. There's only one notable album that I will mention that came out over the last couple weeks. That is Job Before a Cowboy released Moon Healer. So this is one of the formative deathcore bands, like one of the earliest deathcore bands, and they've released their first album in a very long time. I don't think anybody saw these guys reforming coming until they announced it, and announced it I think last year, and started working on some stuff. But the album did come out. It was good fun. I enjoyed it a bit. Not necessarily my style of deathcore. I'm not huge into deathcore like I am on metalcore, and even metalcore I tend to fancy the 2010 stuff more than the 2000 stuff. So Job for a Cowboy isn't my perfect fit as far as the genre goes, but it was good, and if you're a fan, you should check it out if you haven't already. But if you're a fan of Job for a Cowboy, you probably already have. But then a couple singles have come out as well. First one that I will mention is Linkin Park's Friendly Fire, an old unreleased song from the 2017 album One More Light, which I am a holder of the unpopular opinion that I'm not going to say One More Light was Linkin Park's best album, because it's not their best album, but it is my favorite. It's the one that I've connected to the most, the one that I've had the most emotional moments with, and the one that means the most to me for various different reasons, and Friendly Fire is definitely more of that sound. So if you're not a fan of One More Light or that sound, you probably won't enjoy the song very much, but I very much love the song. I think it would have been a really good fit on the album if they had decided to put it on there. The other single that came out was, I believe, just today, as I'm recording this on Thursday, and because I'm recording this on Thursday, the releases that happen on Friday, I obviously won't be able to mention in this one, so I'll talk about those releases in the next one, but you know how it goes. Born of Osiris, which released I think my favorite album of 2021, which was Angel and Alien, or maybe it's Alien and Angel, I don't remember the name of the title. They released a new single, A Mind Short Circuiting. I haven't had a chance to listen to this one yet, but I did enjoy the first single that have come out that they released, I don't know, 6-7 months ago or something like that, middle of 2023, and I'm looking forward to listening to this single. I figured I would give it a shout out anyway. And then I also checked out another album the last couple months that I didn't, or the last couple weeks that I didn't actually know existed until the last couple weeks. That is an album called Uncertain Futures by an artist called Godge, spelled Godge. This is, I guess it's just the main primary songwriter of Wide Eyes, which is my favorite instrumental artist. And this album has a very similar style as a lot of Wide Eyes material. I discovered this album was just like, yeah, this is more that kind of stuff. I really like it. I really like what he was going for with it. So I listened to that, and I felt like noting it, because Wide Eyes is one of my favorite bands, especially instrumentally, as an instrumental band. So Godge being the main songwriter of that, doing a slightly different project, I felt like it was worth noting. But I've definitely been rambling for too long. I didn't want this video to end up being as long as it was, given what kind of time crunch I'm on, so I'm going to go ahead and end this here. I'll see you guys in a couple days, like I said, with my monthly reading wrap up in TBR, the last one of those videos that I released back in, early February, covering January and February. It really popped off, got a ton of views, like way more than normal. I don't anticipate that happening again, but you know, if you happen to check out the channel because of that video, I appreciate you. I hope you check out this next video as well, but I'll be back then. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you soon.